going to show you how to create this image today, a pop art self-portrait or a portrait of any kind using any photo of a person in the web-based application photopea.com. So in order to get started, you're going to first collect the images that you need. One thing that you're going to need is a polka dot background. In pop art, this is a very typical image, or texture used in their portraits. You can collect any color that you'd like. And all you need to do when you find the one that you want to use is save it to your computer. So right-click, Save Image As, and you can save it to your downloads. I've already collected several, so we'll move on from there. The second thing that you want to collect is a speech bubble, because you're going to type in, have your portrait saying something. So just type in the word speech bubble. The exact shape of it doesn't matter too much because you're going to be resizing it to fit your image anyhow, but you can choose something sort of rounded or square or bubble-like. So it could be a thought bubble instead of a speech bubble. And you're going to do the same thing, save it to your computer. Right-click and save. The third thing you need is a photo of yourself. Feel free to use one that you already have, or on your Chromebook, if you go down to the bottom and use this little circle here, your camera will pop out. If it's not here immediately, like you can then type the word camera into there and it will show up. Once it appears, you can just take a photo of yourself and it will save to your computer. Now that you've got those three files, we are going to proceed to a program that removes the background. Now you can do this in Photopea, but I found this sort of cheat on a website called background.bg. It's very quick. I use this a lot for different things, like if you wanted to do some drawings in behind a photo of somebody, something like that, some multimedia work, you can play around with it. Upload. So I'll use a picture here with an actual background in it. Open. And you can see here, it will automatically take the background out. Then you can press download and it will automatically save into your folder without the background data. Then we're going to go to the actual software that we're using for photo editing, which is photopea.com. It's very similar to Photoshop if you've ever used Photoshop before. It has really similar layout and similar features. You're going to click New Project and entitle it with your name or pop art portrait, something like that. You're going to change the units of measurement to inches. And we're just going to make it square. So let's do 14. You've got your measurements in there. You're going to press create. Just leave the other settings as they are. And it's going to create a nice square template for you. Then you want to import your photo image. So you go up to File, and you're going to go to Open in Place. If you go to Open, it's going to create a new file, but you want to actually put it in this document. So once you open those files, the first one or the last one that you just edited should be right at the top. So you can click on that image of the photo of yourself and press Open. And it will place it here. You want to resize it so that it's filling the frame. If you hold down the Shift button on your keyboard, it will constrain your aspect ratio, which means it won't distort it. It will go width and height at the same rate or percentage. Okay, so I've done that. And I'm going to actually just use my cursor. You can move it over with the arrows, the cursor on your keyboard. And I'm going to move it over to the right. I didn't do this last time, but I found it hard to fit in my speech bubble. So I'm going to make that asymmetrical and move it off to the right-hand side. And that's placed. I always go back to my cursor here. That's what finishes whatever process you are using. From here on in, the steps can get a little confusing. So take your time, pause the video when needed, and recreate everything exactly as I'm doing it. Sometimes the steps don't make sense, but they're needed in order for the program to work the way you want it to. So the first thing you're going to do is duplicate this layer. So Photopea and Photoshop work with layers so that you can create certain things and manipulate them in different ways. So you're going to make sure that you're clicked on your top layer here. You're going to right click it and you're going to duplicate the layer. You're going to want 2 of them. The next thing you're going to do is you should be already clicked on this top layer, and you can see how I can switch and work on different layers. You're going to make sure that you're clicked on that top layer. You're going to go up to this pull down menu and switch the selection to color dodge. The next thing you're going to do is double check that that top layer is selected by clicking it one more time. And then using your keyboard, you're going to press the control button and the letter I. What that's going to do is invert your image. It makes it look like your image has disappeared, but that's okay. That's what you want. Then you're going to go up to Filter, Blur, and what's called Gaussian Blur. And this is going to turn your image into like a sketch. You can pick up this box and move it aside so you can have a good look at your picture. And you want to move this bar up or down to get it to a point where it looks like a drawing. So you want to remove most of the color, but not so much that you start losing your image. So I think here is pretty good for me. Then I'm going to press OK. Great. Your next step here is to click on that top layer again, right click, and flatten image. And it's going to merge all of your layers into one. Then we're going to create a new layer in behind to work with. So down at the bottom, you've got these little icons here. So you can go to this one here that says new layer and click that, and it's going to create a new layer. And you're going to drag it down. This determines which one is on top. So you want your background on top. We're going to make sure that we're working with layer 1, and you're going to create a background using the rectangle tool over here. So click rectangle tool, change the color fill to white, and then you can drag a rectangle, and now that background layer is a rectangle. Now you're going to click on this background layer again to make sure that you're working with that. You're going to go up to Layer, New Adjustment Layer, and all the way down here to Threshold. What Threshold is going to do is going to find those lines and turn it into like a coloring book outline. Now you want to have it where you've got thick enough lines that it'll make the coloring easier, but you don't want too much in terms of all that texture. So find a spot that works for you and create your coloring book outline. Okay, now you're going to right click on that layer and click Clipping Mask to finish off that. Then we're going to click down on this back layer and we're going to work on this for a little bit. Now here comes the fun part where we get to colorize. So make sure you're clicked on your your layer that you created of that rectangle. And you're going to go and bring your polka dot image in. So File, Open in Place, and your downloads should appear. Now I have a whole selection of these, so I can pick which one I want to work with today. And I think I'm going to use this bright yellow with the small dots. I'm going to press Open. And you're not going to be able to see it because it's actually in behind, but that's okay. So you're going to then click on Background, and this is going to help it appear. So make sure you're working on your background layer now. And you're going to go up to this pull down menu again, and you're going to click Linear Burn. And that is going to force that to appear. We're going to use the polka dots as the skin. So now is the part where you get to get creative and start painting your image. So we're going to click on the polka dot layer, and then you're going to create a new layer. So all of your painting is going to be created on a new layer. So click New Layer at the bottom. So we've got that here. And now you get to start painting. When I'm painting, I like to use the zoom tool so you can move in on areas that you want to work on. And I'm going to start with the background. So you're going to go up to the paintbrush tool. And your color palette is down here. So I'm going to use this. I'm going to click on there. And here what this does is you can change your hue, your color along the side here. And then you can change the value, the tint and shade here. So you tints this way, shade this way. And then these are different amounts of white and black being added. In pop art, colors are very vibrant, so I like to keep them up in this zone. And you can press OK. Now there's a little arrow button down here that flips them back and forth between colors you're working with. So make sure that the color you want is on the top. Now my paintbrush is really tiny, so I can go up here and change the size of it. Or as a little tip, if you use on your keyboard the brackets at the top right, you can actually make it smaller and make it bigger just by clicking those. So I'll make it nice and big. It'll make it go fast around the edges that I don't need precision. Okay, now that we've done coloring all the parts, you're going to import your speech bubble. So make sure you're clicked on your layer that you just created, the painting layer. Then you're going to go up to File, Open in Place, and find the speech bubble that you downloaded before. Click Open, and it will appear over top of your image. You can then resize it and move it to where you want it. If it's pointing the wrong direction, all you have to do is take this side and flip it over. Drag it right out the other side. Perfect. Now to fill this, you're going to go down to the gradient tool, click on it, and change it to Paint Bucket. You're going to want to change your color. Down here to white. Press OK. Sometimes if you click on it, it's going to ask you to rasterize the layer. So if it says that, if it gives you that error, You're going to go over here, right click, and rasterize. Then you can go back and color fill. Now we're going to add your text, so you can go over to this sidebar and click the text tool. Click anywhere on your page. You can go and select your font. So you're going to use this drop-down menu here, and it's going to load a selection of fonts. There is actually a comic selection of texts. So the easiest way to see just those is to deselect all of them and then press comic. And then you'll have all of these choices show up, and you can scroll down until it's a text that you like. And then you can start typing a message. Highlight your text and use the resize here to size it to what you want. And you can then go to the cursor and move it to the center, and you're finished. You're going to go up to File, Export as PNG, and it's going to allow you to save this file. And now you have a pop art self-portrait.